Well, guys, I didn't think there could be a movie this year worse than The Boy Next Door or Seventh Son. This movie might just be worse than both of those. Hey guys, it's Kevin again, and this is going to be an epic rant for another movie. Now, this movie I'm going to be reviewing, I did not think was as bad as everyone else was saying it was. Everybody said this movie was terrible, and that it wasn't, could have been really good, and it wasn't good. And that movie that I'm going to be reviewing / doing a rant on is The Loft. Oh my god. This movie, how could this have been bad? How could this have gone so badly? Like, seriously, how? This is an open road films. Open road films delivers good stuff. They deliver Boyhood. How could this have gone bad? Like, seriously, that's what I was thinking when I was done watching the movie, was how could this have gone so bad? The Loft, guys, is fucking terrible. It is. It has one good quality. One good quality to it. And I'll get to what that one good quality is. But other than that good quality, it is a terrible movie. It was supposed to come out in August of last year, but it got pushed back to January because of As Above, So Below. So, basically, this movie is absolutely atrocious, and where I'm going to talk about why this movie sucks so much, and why I had such a bad time watching it. Let's get to the plot of The Loft, which honestly, if you were the plot, it's like, how could this have been bad? Basically, you see this man being questioned on this murder that happened, and there were these 5 men. They shared a loft, basically. They were tired of, cheating on their wives and everything, and there was this mistress there. There were these respective mistresses there. So, they each had sex with these women and everything, and suddenly, this one woman is murdered, suddenly, in that loft, and the men begin to suspect each other of having committed the gruesome crime. Now, I know what you guys are thinking, how could this have gone badly? There are many reasons why. I myself was like, how could this have gone so badly? Because literally, that is such an interesting plot, and could have just been so much better than it was. Like, that literally sounds as interesting as, like, Gone Girl. It does. It sounds extremely interesting to me. The problem is, this movie does not know how to make that thing interesting, and also clearly does not know how to make that realistic, and I'm going to talk about what the problems with the movie are. Now let's first get to the acting in this movie. Holy shit, this acting. Oh my god. It's not so much the acting that's the problem, it's the script. Let's first get to the acting. First of all, not a single one of these men you care about. Not a single character. None of them really have much of a backstory. None of them you really care about very much. You don't. You don't care about them. You don't worry what happens to them. I never once cared about them. I never cared about what happened to them. Carl Urban is our main character here, and he's trying, okay? I'm gonna give him that. He's trying to give a good performance, but you don't care. Literally, his performance is nothing. His character's not interesting. He did a good job. James Marsden also, they are trying to give good performances, and for what they do, they give good jobs. They do. They're not terrible. Wentworth Miller, though, is just, oh my god, so bad. Eric Stonestreet, so bad. I'm gonna talk about the problem with these 5 men. Their dynamic overall is absolutely atrocious. Literally, this is their dynamic. Hey, let's hit on some bitches. Let's fuck some bitches. Come on, fuck some bitches, man. Like, that's seriously their dynamic. Their whole dynamic is all about sex and having sex with women, and just, it's so fucking stupid. That is their dynamic. They don't have much of one. You don't see any sort of, like, friendship between these 5 men. You don't. And you don't understand when they start to turn on one each other. You don't understand why they would turn on each other, because they're friends and everything. You don't understand why this would happen. It just doesn't make any sense. Nothing in this movie makes any sort of sense whatsoever. I must mention that. Nothing in this movie makes sense. Nothing. And these five men have no dynamic whatsoever. Rana Mitra as Allison and Rachel Taylor as Ann Morris were okay, I guess. I don't really want to talk about the women. I'll talk about what really surprised me was Kristen Lehrman and Robert Wisdom, the detectives. Whenever we would suddenly get to their perspective, it suddenly turned into a completely different movie. When we watched the detectives questioning the men, it suddenly was like, why is this, like, so realistic all of a sudden? But all that did was make me want to watch an episode of The Affair. It did. I'm not kidding. That's all I thought was, I want to watch The Affair right now, because that's a lot more interesting than this. So, the directing in this movie is all over the place. The director does not know how to make a nonlinear story. Because, I should also mention, the story is completely nonlinear. It's all over the place. You don't know what's going on half the time. It's extremely confusing. You don't care about the story. The directing is just all over the place. Like, the director, you don't even know, like, what he's trying to do here. I don't know what he was trying to do. Because this is supposed to be a thriller, there's not much tension in this movie. There's not. There's not much tension. There's not much, thrill. There's none of that. And the directing just does not work to this movie. I don't know what he was trying to do, but it just did not work at all. The screenplay, though, by far the worst thing about this movie is the screenplay. Oh my god, the screenplay is fucking terrible. The screenplay to this movie, literally, the screenplay to this movie is so terrible. The lines they gave them, what they gave them to do, just, they never even say have sex. All they say is fuck, like, the whole time. There are so many times in this movie where they're talking about sex and all they say is just fuck this woman, fuck that, like, it's so stupid. The screenplay in here sounds like something a horny teenage guy would write. Yeah, someone my age would write. Not even someone my age. A horny preteen would write this dialogue. That's what it sounds like to me. Something a horny preteen would write. That's how bad this dialogue is. It is terrible dialogue. It's so unbelievably bad, especially during the party. The party is like the worst time the dialogue is bad. When the men start to turn on each other, it doesn't work. The dialogue is just so unbelievably bad. So unbelievably bad. So dumb, and not even the problem with the movie. The script is also a huge problem here, because the endings of the movie don't make sense. The things that happen in the movie don't make sense. The twists don't make sense. When you eventually find out who murdered Sarah, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Literally, I'm trying to understand it, and it does not make any sense whatsoever. It has one of the dumbest twists I have seen in recent memory, and honestly, you know, it's just a giant mess. The script was just a mess. It was awful. An awful script. The only thing I can give this movie is the cinematography. The cinematography in this movie is beautiful to look at. Gorgeous to look at, honestly. There are some scenes at the beginning of the movie where I'm like, this is actually going to be very promising. I mean, there are some scenes where you look at the loft and you see a man walking, and just the cinematography is amazing to look at. If there is anything good about this movie, anything that you can recommend, is the cinematography. Cinematography is absolutely beautiful. Visuals are beautiful. The cinematographer, definitely, I would love to see him do more movies, because he gave some astounding visuals. Definitely some astounding visuals. Really, that's the best part of this movie, is just the cinematography. He did a lot. He did The Drop. I definitely want to see him do more cinematography in the future, because his cinematography was gorgeous. The editing, this movie moves by so quickly. And this isn't even a movie that feels slow. It feels too short. Honestly, it did. This movie felt way too short. It felt like there was another act that was missing. I'm going to be honest. It felt like this movie had another act that was missing. I don't know what it was. I just felt like there was something about this movie. There was some sort of final act that was missing, and I couldn't figure out what it was. But something to this movie was missing. It's that simple. Something was missing, and I don't know what it was. The way the movie ends is so stupid. The characters' fates don't make any sense. Like, the way the movie ends, the movie literally ends with each character. You see what happens to each character. And it doesn't go, for example, what happens to Carl Urban's character doesn't go with his character. What happens to Chris's character doesn't go with his character. What happens to Luke's character doesn't go with his character. What happens to Carl Urban's character, what happens to Vincent's character, you know, Carl Urban's, should have happened to Luke. What happens to Vincent should have happened, what happens to Luke should have happened to Chris. What happens to Chris should have happened to Marty. Like, it's all over the place. The way that was all over the place. The way they did not know, it felt like to me they just did not know how to end the movie. It's like, we gotta give all these characters just their own fates, so we gotta wrap it up very quickly, and just, it's so dumb the way that's done. Just everything about it is so dumb, and just the way they start to turn on each other is dumb. And there's also a fight scene in the movie. There's no tension or thrill, as I said, because you don't care, first of all. But also, the fights in this movie are so terribly choreographed and just so random and out of nowhere. And that's the other thing. That's how fast-paced this thing is. It's so fast-paced that the fights and the way they start to turn on each other, it just seems out of nowhere. It just seems too abrupt, and everything about this movie just seems so abrupt. There's nothing else I can really say about this movie. Guys, just don't see this movie. I'm sorry. It's terrible. Is it worse than The Boy Next Door? No. Is it worse than Seventh Son? No. It's not worse than either of those movies. But it definitely is one of the worst movies of the year, guys. This movie gets a D-. Do not watch it. 1 out of 5. It is absolutely... It's a terrible movie. Don't watch it. I don't ever want to see this thing again. Just don't put yourself through it. Don't make yourself suffer through it. That's my review. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you guys in my next video. Yeah, it's really all there is to say about The Loft. Other than that, guys, that's really all I have to say about this movie. But other than that, guys, that's my review of The Loft. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I should also say one other thing about this movie, that the actors are non-believable. Like, literally what they're saying, like, the characters, the actors that are portraying these characters are non-believable. If you would have gotten a better cast, and, like, would have had a cast that actually seems believable, like Eric Stonestreet, Wentworth Miller, James Marsden, Carl Urban, Matthias, Skornertz, they do not seem like the kind of men that are like this. They do not seem like the kind of men. They don't seem like these, you don't believe them as these men who are obsessed with women. You just don't believe them in these roles. It didn't work for me at all. What they were trying to do, just nothing about it worked, and just nothing about this movie worked, and it just seemed like a giant mess to me. But other than that, guys, that's it for my epic rant of The Loft. Let me know what you guys think of this movie. Don't watch this movie. Don't watch it. Don't waste your time with it. I'll see you guys in the next video, which will be my review for tonight's episode of Arrow. So I'll see you guys for that. Okay, bye.